The past no longer exists. All that is real is right now. And right now, you can choose love. So it's having intentionality to love. That is what underscores all reality. So that's why I have to practice being still and being present, because that is where love is.
Look, if you want to build something meaningful while staying true to your values without sacrificing your soul for success, this episode is for you. I'm here with John Mackey, co-founder of Whole Foods Market, who turned a $45,000 investment into a company that transformed how America thinks about foods. You see, most entrepreneurs think you have to choose between profit and purpose. But John reveals how conscious capitalism creates businesses where everyone wins: customers, employees, suppliers, communities. And today he's sharing with you the counterculture mindset that birthed Whole Foods and how a life-changing psychedelic experience knocked him off the traditional path. We go into how his new venture of Love.Life is revolutionizing wellness by bringing everything under one roof. Let's dive into this super informative, diverse interview. All right, John, thank you for coming on the Heal Thyself show. I have a lot of questions for you, man.
I'm excited to be here, Christian. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, and I really want to go into your project, Love.Life, something that I have been meaning, top of my list to go see. But before we get into any of that, are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Sure, fire away.
Fire away. Okay. What was the most profound healing moment that you can remember in your life that shifted your perspective?
I don't know if it's so much a healing moment, because I've never really had sort of ill health. Mm-hmm. But I know the first time I took a very large dose of LSD and had a ego death, that definitely shifted my perspective.
I can't wait to go into that. Okay. What was the best mistake you've ever made in your life?
The best mistake I ever made in my life, those are the ones that teach you the most.
Yeah.
Probably the long relationship I had with a ex-girlfriend for 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the number one lesson you learned from that?
Be with a happy woman, because if she's not already happy, happiness is kind of a set point, like a thermostat. People go back to it. Now, people can evolve their own happiness level. They're not stuck there, but you can't evolve it for them. Mm-hmm. You can make them happy temporarily, but then it like leaks out of the bucket. Mm. So marry a happy woman if you want to be happy.
Amen. I know that's right. Conscious living. What is one piece of advice, just one piece of advice, how people can live more consciously?
When you forget to be conscious, in the next moment, you can be present again. No matter how many times you forget, you can go back in the next moment and choose love, choose to be present.
Okay. One moment to moment.
Yes, and you'll forget, but then in the next moment, you can remember.
Yeah. What is the most transformative spiritual practice that you do?
Gratitude.
Every single day?
Every day.
Multiple times a day?
I do the process in the morning, but I think about gratitude all day long.
Okay, amazing. Thank you for the rapid fire. Let's get into this interview. I look, right when we were going through the rapid fire questions, it really piqued my interest about your experience with psychedelics. I have been a proponent of psychedelics for a long time. They've made some massive changes in my own human experience and my work. How would you describe the power of psychedelics in not only just humbling you, but showing you, guiding you about where you need to go?
Well, I think psychedelics, I started out a long time ago, back when, Timothy Leary was still alive. I mean, I did my first psychedelics back in like 1972, I think. So we're talking 53 years ago. And that was sort of it helped awaken me to spiritual reality, that what I've been told about sort of life is meaningless, that we're just here, we evolve, we live, we die. There's no point to it. That helped awaken me to that there's actually a deep spiritual reality that I want to say underlies or is the fabric of everything, and we're just not conscious of it. And so that helped me awaken to it. That's probably the best gift that's given to me. But then it's also helped me in other ways. It can be a tool, particularly now. The science is showing that particularly psilocybin and MDMA, particularly when combined, can really help people overcome PTSD. Like if you're a veteran, I've known a lot of SEALs, for example, that have been able to heal through psychedelic therapy. Now we've made it legal in Oregon and Colorado, and I think somebody was telling me that California is on the cusp of this. I don't know, but I do think that's, from a therapeutic standpoint, it can be very powerful. Now Michael Pollan sort of has popularized the idea of guided spiritual journeys when he talked about how to change your mind in that book.
Yeah.
So I think that, and the drug warriors that were trying to prevent it all back when I was younger, they're dead. And so there's still an establishment resistance to it, but there's not this deep fear that it's going to wreck our children's lives and we got to stop this. That's not saying it doesn't exist at all, but it's not predominant in the culture any longer.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is a renaissance kind of coming back up over the past few years, especially, I've noticed. And
Yes. And there's all kinds of new sort of designer substances that people are using.
And it's a business now too. Entrepreneurs are jumping right onto
really
it too.
For the record, I did a couple of guided spiritual journeys in 22 and 23 that were really profound for me. In my book, The Whole Story, I talk about those in some depth. But the last one I did was very profound because the messaging that came very clearly from inside myself was sort of like this: John, we've shown you all you need to know. What you need to do now is not take psychedelics to see more. You need to practice stillness. Stillness. In stillness, that is where love is, in the moment, in the stillness. And so I've just tried to deepen my meditation practice. It's been very helpful.
The stillness.
Stillness.
I've gotten that message. It's like, maybe you don't need to do any more. Now go embody it. And I was like,
exactly.
Whoa.
Yes, that's what it's told me.
Yeah. So I believe your first experience was at 19 years old?
Yeah, I think I was 19.
Around 19, okay. And you were quoted to say that it knocked you off of your path. Knocked you off of your path. Where was your path going?
The path was going where your parents had programmed you, and the culture had programmed me to. I was going to go to college. I was going to get a degree. My mother wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer, or go and get an MBA and be a professional of some kind, earn a good living, have a family, and then live out your life and die.
Yeah,
sort of the American dream.
Yeah,
and it knocked me off of that because it really made me want to discover the meaning of life. I became a seeker to the meaning of life. What's the purpose of it all? Why are we here? What does exist? How do we come here? And it awakened me to the fact that there was this deeper spiritual reality that we could experience, that we could touch, that there's a deeper interiority within us. We think of the universe as this vast, infinite place, right? But the interior of being is even more vast. It's just that we're so focused on the external world that we're usually not conscious of it. So it definitely, when I took this LSD experience back when I was 20, I just turned 22, and I didn't have any idea how big the dose was, and it was a very large dose, heroic dose. And I like to describe it as, it was so powerful. It was like imagine you're at Niagara Falls, and you're trying to sweep you over the falls, and you're holding on to a rock with one hand. That's all you got. And eventually you get tired and you get swept over. That's what happened. And then I found myself basically I just was dissolved into the one being. And I realized, oh my God, there's only the one being. That's all that's ever existed, is the one being, forever and ever and ever. And that was so liberating for me, Christian, because it's like, it's all just an adventure. Life is this adventure. It's an eternal adventure. There's nothing to be afraid of. You're going to fail, you're going to die, but not really die. It's just another transformation that goes on endlessly. And that helped me let go of a lot of fear. It's like the fear of death anyway.
Yeah. The fear of death is what I wanted to go into, because there's so many people who unconsciously fear death. It's very
course.
taboo in our
Yeah,
culture. We
absolutely.
don't want to even look at it. And something like a psychedelic journey will, there's a palpable knowing that, oh, this just goes on.
Yeah. I have a metaphor that I oftentimes use to describe it to help people because we're very attached to our bodies and to our egos. The ego is the part of us that feels separate. You're a Christian. I'm John. That's Luke. That's a curtain over there. I mean, these are all separate things.
Yeah.
And that's what we believe, and that's what we're very attached to. And it's like, I have these clothes on today. They're not me. I'm going to go home. I'm going to hang these clothes up. Maybe I'll wear them again. Maybe I'll wear something else. Maybe I'll put them on again. They're not me. So it doesn't really matter, does it? That's the way it is, I think, with our bodies and with these lives that we live. We're very attached to them, but they're not who we really are. There's something beneath the clothes, beneath the body, beneath the ego, that is the deepest real part of ourselves. That is what is eternal. That's what that continues to live on. Is actually never not existed. It was never not. There's no beginning, no ending. There's eternal adventure, you might say. And that's enabled me. Soon after that, I moved into this vegetarian co-op. Wasn't a vegetarian. I just was into counterculture stuff. I thought I'd meet some wonderful, interesting people there, and I did. I learned how to cook. I became a vegetarian. I found my awakening there for business. It's like, wow, I want to start my own natural food store. That'll be so cool. My girlfriend at the co-op was into it, so we did it. And then voila, Whole Foods comes out of that. So, and that has been an incredible adventure. That's been one of the great adventures of my life, has been building that company. So, I think that's kind of the answer there.
Yeah. So I want to take a step back and you realizing that this is an adventure. I'm not necessarily my body. I love this counterculture move. You're really stepping into all of this. You meet your co-founder?
Well, yes, I met one of my co-founders, Renee.
Yeah.
She was at the co-op. I mean, in the co-op, when I met Renee, I was 23 and she was 19. So we were, and I was studying no business classes. Renee had no background in business. So when we started the business, we did not know what we were doing. We were just a couple of idealistic kids who wanted to, I always say the purpose of Whole Foods when we started it was to sell healthy food to people, earn a living, and have some fun. And that's what, and in some sense, that all happened, and it's still kind of happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So you two meet, and then you're moving, and you say you have this idea, but you're really in the state of more grounded, conscious, connected to, you've had this journey, you're in this counterculture, you're honoring animals.
Yeah. I just felt the deep desire within my heart to do it. I wanted to do it.
What did that feel like?
It's a yearning, the best way to describe it, a yearning. A sort of knowing that this is the right thing for me now. And I often think, if Renee had not been super excited about it, would it have happened?
Yeah.
Because I was, I'd let go of a lot of fear of death and whatnot, but I was like, would I want to do it alone? I didn't have any business background. It'd be so much better if I had somebody to do it with.
Yeah.
And the fact that she got excited about it too and wanted to do it as well made it so much easier for us to hold hands and take that leap into the unknown together.
Did she have a business background?
No, she had no business background either. But Renee, she had one of the most important qualities you can have in life, enthusiasm.
A lot of it.
Very enthusiastic person. And she'd throw herself into whatever she was doing, she'd throw all of herself into it. And so we were doing it together. That made it fun.
But this is important for the viewers and listeners to know. You don't need that business background. At least
it doesn't hurt.
Initially, it doesn't hurt. But I'm sure you've gotten the bumps all over the way. But
let's just be clear. I did not have that business background, but two things happened that the first thing is I learned very rapidly. I learned by doing. I learned from making mistakes. I'm also a voracious reader. So I may not have taken any business classes, but I began to read books on business at night, marketing, finance, accounting, a strategy, all the basics of business. I began, because I was so interested in it now. I'm going to do this business thing. I got to get good at it. So I just started devouring it. Also, my father, he was, at that time, my father had been an accounting professor when I was really young. And then he went into private business, became a chief financial officer, and later a CEO of a hospital management company. This was the best thing that ever happened to my relationship with my dad, because I took him on as a mentor. He invested in Safer Way and Whole Foods, and then he began to mentor me, coach me. So I did have the advantage of my father's wisdom, who knew a lot about business, who saved, I like to say, if it was up to me, I'd have driven the Whole Foods bus off the cliff a couple of times. My dad grabbed the wheel and said, steady, son. And so I did have my father helping me. I was learning quickly from mistakes and also just devouring books. So still, Safer Way, our first store was called Safer Way. It was in an old Victorian house. It wasn't on a commercial road. It was a terrible location. We didn't know anything about locations. We just thought this was a cool house. We got to have a store here. And in fact, we moved out of the co-op and we moved into the house, which wasn't even zoned for that. We just, to save rent, we lived up on the third floor where there's a little office. We had a little futon couch that we turned into a bed. There was no shower or bathtub or anything in that old house. And we had a Hobart dishwasher, which we used to climb up into and have the hose rinse us off. You know, we're young. It doesn't matter. And it is, now I look back on it, in some ways, it was one of the happiest times of my life, because we were at the beginning stages of this vast adventure that took, I did it for 44 years before I retired. So most of my life.
So you have this Safeway shop just opening up and starting to build on it. And I'm just envisioning showering in the sink, basically. And it's funny because when you're young, you don't think about it. You're just like, oh, it's part of it's not even an inconvenience. You just do it.
You don't care. Because there are more important things.
But I imagine that you immediately met on some bumps in the road. Let me talk to you something that has been a total game changer in my home, and it's probably not what you think. It is an air purifier, because what we breathe in matters as much as what we eat or drink. And air quality in our homes can be filled from everything from mold spores to pollen to smoke to allergies. And air purifiers are so important. Most of them are going to be in plastic boxes, make a lot of noise. And then I discovered the Jasper. The Jasper was brought to me by my sales team, and they said, this is a fantastic air purifier. And I looked into it, and it was true. I loved it so much that I got the founder on. And what immediately caught my attention is the design. So many of the air purifiers are clunky, antiquated looking, 90s looking, and this is sleek, quiet, and powerful. But here's what really got me. It's built with steel, not plastic. So we're talking about machines that are actually built to last. So Jasper handles everything from smoke to mold to pollen, all the allergens that make you feel terrible without you even realizing why. Whether you're dealing with seasonal allergies, live in an area that is susceptible to wildfires or smoke, or just want the cleanest air possible in your home, get this. I am confident that you will love it. It has a lifetime warranty. Yes, lifetime. That tells you everything you need to know about the quality and engineering that goes into these units. Since I've been using my Jasper for about a year now, I have 2 running. One's on the first floor, one's on the second floor. I have 3 actually, 1 first floor, second, third floor. And I've noticed cleaner air, better overall sleep, and just an overall sense that my home environment is clean. The air is nice. We tested it. We have people come in and test the air and they say the air is super clean. Thank you, Jasper. Go to jasper.co/DRG and use the code DRG for $200 off for a limited time. That is JASPR.co/DRG. The code is DRG.
Well, Safer Way lost half of the capital. We had $45,000 invested. We lost half of it in the first year. We know what we're doing. But I'm very proud to say we made $5,000 in year 2. So we were figuring things out. One thing I figured out, we were in a bad location and that it was too small of a store. We were not well placed to compete well in the marketplace in Austin, Texas back in 1979, 78, 79. So I was able to convince the board, which was the investors, that they gave me a challenge. They said, we think you should stay here and get some more seasoning under your belt. My father, that was his argument. And he said, but if you can find somebody else willing to invest a large amount of capital in this thing, then Yeah, sure. Well, we can go to this new,
Mhm.
because we found a great location nearby, just less than a mile away, that was right on 10,000 square feet big, right on a commercial strip center that had a lot of traffic. But it was still a risk to do that when we were starting to figure out the business. So they said, if you can find somebody else to invest capital, then we'll invest more capital. You can do it. I found a buddy of mine that I played pickup basketball with, and his parents had died, and he inherited a bunch of money from them.
Mm.
And so he loved Saferway. Jay Templeton, he put $25,000 in, and then we were able to get more money from the other investors then, and then that enabled us to do the first Whole Foods market.
Mm.
We partnered with another natural food store we might call a friendly competitor that we love those guys, and they came in with us, and we did it together. So I always say there were 4 co-founders: me, Renee, Craig, and Mark.
And
For Whole
that was the
Foods.
other store. So you all,
Yes,
and now in Austin, Texas was the first one.
yes. We
Amazing.
opened that in 1980.
Okay. How was that received by the people of Austin?
Amazing. It was like, first of all, Saferway was a very idealistic store. It was a vegetarian store.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't sell coffee. We didn't sell beer and wine. We didn't sell white sugar.
Yeah.
We were very, very holy.
Yeah.
And we didn't do very much business because that's not really what the market wanted.
Mm-hmm.
When we went to Whole Foods and merged with the other store, we agreed, okay, we're going to sell meat. We're going to sell seafood. We're going to sell coffee. We're going to sell beer and wine.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have sugar as one of the alternatives people can
Mm-hmm.
have. And within 6 months of opening, that was the highest volume natural food store in the United States.
Really?
It exploded.
Wow.
It absolutely took off.
But why? What was the differentiator between all of the other natural food stores?
We were a lot bigger than they were.
It was size.
For the rest of them were small stores like Saferway. We had the first one stop. If you were living a natural foods lifestyle, you could get everything you wanted at Whole Foods, everything. You didn't have to go to another store. Whereas the smaller natural food stores, you had to usually go supplement that at going to Safeway or some other supermarket. So that was our big advantage. And we had lower prices. We came out with lower prices. We were more aggressive in pricing. And what can I say? My partners, Craig and Mark, were dynamite. We all worked really hard, and we just built the best store, and it just did really well. But then, of course, the interesting thing of that story is that 9 months after we'd opened up, we'd become the highest volume natural food store in the United States, and Austin had the worst flood that it had in over 100 years. You know the recent tragedy that occurred.
Mm-hmm.
The Hill Country in Texas is subject to drought. Before that Hunt, Texas thing happened recently, Austin and the Hill Country had been in the worst drought since the 1950s.
Wow.
That broke it out, the flash flood, which tragically killed those young camping girls. I was about 70 or 80 miles away from Austin.
Mm.
And, but so Austin had this terrible flood, and we had 8 feet of water in our store. We were bankrupt. Renee was working that night, and she swam out of the store. They just came in like a tidal wave.
Holy moly.
And creek rose up, came in, got 8 feet of water. Everything was ruined. And that was one of the most important things that ever happened to me in business, though, because what happened the next day, I go in there to help clean up, and there are all of these people that, besides our team members, that were helping us clean up, our neighbors, our customers. They loved us. They didn't want us to die. And they stayed and helped us day after day after day to get back open again.
Incredible.
And that was the first time I realized that didn't have the language for it back then, but there's such a thing as stakeholders.
Yeah.
People that have a stake in the business that aren't investors. So customers, employees, suppliers. Suppliers gave us new inventory. Team members worked for free for 30 days until we could get back open. We paid them once we got back open, but we hadn't gotten open. We didn't have the money to repay them. Suppliers gave us more inventory. Investors put in more capital. The bank loaned $100,000 to us on my signature, which was worthless.
Wow.
So we were able to get back open again, and then we just took a ride after that. And we needed a second store, so we didn't have all our eggs in one basket, so to speak, that could float down the river.
Yeah. What an incredible moment, right? There's, I always submit that there's a reason why things unfold.
I only saw it later, how important that was to Whole Foods. It made us grateful to be alive and to be present. And it also helped us want to expand. And I learned how we were all interconnected, how we were interdependent. That business is really, it's so many people are connected to a business that lead to it being successful, not just the people doing it.
Yeah, I want to really start moving into that because you did things the right way, and I'm hearing these stories that I never heard, right? And it's so interesting to me. That must have informed how you moved forward with your staff, with your suppliers, like you said, stakeholders.
I've been trying to pay them back ever since, Christian.
Yeah. So for the people viewing and listening, they go, you know what? I'm a small business owner. How can I do better? How can I show up better? There's something as conscious business, conscious capitalism.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What does this mean to you? And how do we embody that as business owners?
I did write a couple of books on this subject for those that want to go a little deeper. First, Conscious Capitalism. Co-authored that with Raj Sisodia, and we're doing a second edition of that now because it came out in 2013. Then in 2020, I published with a couple of my good friends, Conscious Leadership. So I've and then last year I published The Whole Story, which is kind of a memoir, my personal memoir and the story of Whole Foods and how we built it. So it's all in there in those 3 books. Almost all my business wisdom is in those 3 books.
Amazing.
So you're asking the question about conscious capitalism and about, in conscious capitalism, it's just a different way to think about business. We recognize basically 4 pillars that a conscious business has. The first one is a higher purpose, besides just making money. Now, business has to make money or it'll die.
Yeah.
It's like my body has to produce red blood cells. If I don't have the red blood cells, I'm dead.
Yeah.
But that's not why I'm alive. I'm not alive to produce red blood cells. And business has to make money or it will die. That doesn't mean that's why it exists. Purpose of a business is almost always found in the value that it's creating for its customers. That's the way you make money. You create value for other people. Then they want what you have and they voluntarily trade with you. Usually they have other competitive places in the marketplace. Here in LA, Whole Foods has got not only Trader Joe's, but now we have Erewhon going really well, and the conventional supermarkets. So people have, we have to get better.
Yeah.
Competition helps business improve and get better. But purpose is the first pillar, higher purpose. Find your purpose, live your purpose. Secondly, all stakeholders matter. They're not equal, but they all matter. So I'd say that the customer is the most important stakeholder. No customers, no business. That's the rule number 1 in business. You have to create value for customers. And then probably the investors are next, because with no capital, you can't do anything. And then probably your employees and team members are third. And because a business can actually exist without any employees, right? You can just have customers and you can just be a one-man show.
Yeah.
And do it yourself. Lots of, you could be having accounting, or tax, you have a tax firm. You're the only person doing you're doing taxes for people, but you have nobody working for you. That's why I always put the owners and the customers as the 2 most important stakeholders. Then the employees, then the suppliers, then the community that we're part of, and then the larger environment. We have impacts on that. So they're all matter. They're all interdependent. They're all connected. And one of the things I realized that was transformative, you can manage that as a system, meaning you can develop strategies where all of your stakeholders are simultaneously winning. And then that can be a test. If they're not all winning, maybe it's not a good strategy and you should rethink it. In other words, we're kind of taught to think in terms of trade-offs. Somebody's winning and somebody else is losing. That's the way life is. No, that's a construct. That's not the way life has to be. Our minds have almost limitless creativity. We can come up with solutions and strategies where everybody's benefiting, everybody's winning. So that's the stakeholder philosophy, second pillar. Third pillar, we need leaders who are more conscious.
Yeah.
And that means they're not primarily concerned first and foremost about what they're getting paid. They're trying to fulfill the mission of the organization, and they're trying to serve all the stakeholders. And of course, they should be paid well, but if that's their goal, if that's their primary goal, then they're probably not that conscious. And then finally, we need to create cultures where people flourish, I mean, you're going to spend a lot of your time at work.
Yeah.
If it's not a fulfilling place, if there's a lot of judgment and anger and, people don't have your back, if there's not that camaraderie,
Yeah.
and people are learning and growing and having fun, well, it's a bad culture. And so I think conscious businesses create cultures that allow people to really flourish, be happy and fulfilled.
I'm feeling so much into that culture in my business, which you really focus on everyone being able to have their voice heard, value,
Yes.
exchange information, feel as part of the team. We always have our all group meeting.
Sounds like you're doing great.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like, how can you infuse the best of you in this ecosystem? And this is the holistic perspective. And, I have a lot of friends who went to business school and they do it completely different.
Yeah,
It's the traditional way.
I think in some ways, that's why I say not going the traditional way allowed me to develop in a different direction.
Yeah.
I wasn't stuck in the way you were supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm. That's the whole counterculture thing. I think that's been in you for quite a while.
I think it has been.
Yeah.
I've always thought outside the box.
Yeah. You said,
most entrepreneurs are very creative people.
Yeah.
This is not well understood, that they have creativity like an artist or a musician or a writer. A good entrepreneur is constantly trying to figure out ways to create value, to innovate, think outside the box. That's their edge. That's how they can win, by innovating and by creating things other people haven't thought of before.
In your journey with Whole Foods, what was your most innovative moment where you said, this is the thing that I think is the strategy that's going to work? And it did, and it hit.
The most innovative thing was right at the very beginning when we made that transition from Safer Way to Whole Foods Market. Now it seems trivial in retrospect, right? It seems obvious. Innovations that work, when you look back on them, seem obvious to everyone. It's like, duh. But I will tell you something. Everyone told me what I wanted to do wasn't going to work. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to create a big store. I wanted to create a regular supermarket that only sold natural foods, natural and organic foods. And everybody said, that's a crazy idea. It's too big. You're never going to have enough business. People don't want this. Or what I heard again and again and again, you're just a bunch of hippies selling food to other hippies, and that's not a very big market.
Yeah.
And so but of course, the true entrepreneur does things that other people say won't work. If it's obvious, then everybody's already doing it. You have to be able to do something that isn't being done, and that's your advantage. That's your competitive advantage. So, I mean, let's take some other examples. Okay, Steve Jobs does the first Apple computer. That was a personal computer. Do you know how many people said that's a stupid idea?
Yeah.
People don't need personal computers. That's dumb. We have these big mainframes, and that's what nobody. Yeah, you can't do anything on this little computer anyway. There's no software for it. It's a stupid idea. It's going to work. Well, Apple's now the second most valuable corporation in the world, in the history of the world. It used to be the most valuable. NVIDIA, which is leading AI, is now the most valuable company in the world.
Yeah.
So another massive innovation that everybody said wasn't going to be possible to do.
Yeah.
How about Elon Musk with Tesla and SpaceX? Those are two things that people said, what the hell? Electric cars? That's not going to work. That's a stupid idea. You're never going to get batteries that can hold enough charge to even do that thing. Or in SpaceX, how can you make any money going into space? He's made a massive amount of money in two ways going into space. Satellites. There's so many satellites up there, then SpaceX is shooting most of them up there. But even more important is they created, with all the satellites they sent up there, they sent their Starlink. So now they have internet coverage all around the world, that instead of needing cell towers, you can use Starlink. And that's in itself if they just spun off Starlink from SpaceX, it'd be one of the largest companies in the world in terms of valuation. So my point is that you have to continue to think outside the box. And so the unique idea that I didn't come up with by myself, a few other people were thinking of it simultaneously. What about a one-stop natural food supermarket?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the original idea, which worked extremely well.
And innovative, and everyone said, no, it's not going to work.
Everyone said, no, it's not going to work.
This is to all the viewers and listeners, then I want you to listen closely to that, right? Because you will be met with that, and it could be from your friends, it could be from your parents, it can be from people whose word really is meaningful and valuable to you. But it's really, really important to stay with what is true for you, right?
Yes.
And you had said you had that voracious passion and knowing, and you just lead into it.
But you know what surprised me, Christian? First of all, I knew it was going to work. I just didn't know how big it could be.
How did you know it was going to work?
Because all my friends wanted to shop there.
Yeah.
And they might have said just hippies want to shop there, but young people wanted to shop there. It was the old people that said it wasn't going to work. The young people said, this is the coolest store I've ever been in.
Yeah.
I love this store, man. And they tell their friends, and that's why it just took off right out of the get-go and never looked back. I mean, the first 250 stores Whole Foods Market ever opened up, every single one of them was successful. Every single one. We never had, until about that point, we got a little bit too careless when we opened a store that ended up not succeeding. We had a tremendous track record, and still in our history, we've only closed a few stores that didn't work out, couldn't grow into it. So,
yeah. I feel I really resonate with that. And that's what a success in itself, right? It's something that wanted to be created, I think, deeper than us, something we wanted to move through and be created and was. And I often think it's like, if the universe is creating through us, we'll be met with the road bumps.
No, I mean, that's when you know you're on track.
But you know you're on track, right?
It's flowing through you.
It's flowing through you, exactly. One of the biggest lessons I've ever learned when I do psychedelics, and I got it tattooed on me after, is love is all there is. Love. Right?
Love is all there is. It's the only thing that matters.
It's the only thing that matters. How the heck do we remember that when we're not on psychedelics? How do we remember that when we're waking up and it's dreary and you know, we got 10 things went wrong in our day? How the heck do we stay grounded?
You know, my wife, I'm gonna answer that question. So my wife told me this, and I've been working with it for a few years now. You know, John, you make it too complicated. It's actually really simple. Just love everyone all the time. No exceptions. No exceptions. And that way you don't have to say, I'm angry at him, I like her, I love him, and you're constantly sorting everybody out into these categories. There's only one category, everyone, and everyone deserves love. And so once you begin with, you have that intentionality, you have the intention to love everyone. And so then you can begin to look at people through the eyes of love instead of through the eyes of judgment. In the eyes of judgment, you're looking for what people are doing wrong.
Yeah.
Through the eyes of love, you're trying to see the beauty. You're trying to see the goodness within them. And if you look for that, you'll find it. If you look for things that are wrong with people, you'll find that. And so one separates us from people and the other one leads us to greater connection with people. And here's the most important tip I can give you in this talk. You're going to forget that, but it doesn't matter. You'll remember again. And so in that next moment, you can choose love. Even if you've forgotten it, even if you've been judging, even if you've been angry, you can remember who you are. And then in the next moment, you can choose love again. No matter how many times you forget it, the past no longer exists. All that is real is right now. And right now, you can choose love. No matter how many times you forget it, and I forget it every day still. But as you practice it, you get more and more skilled, and I forget it not as lengthy a time because it's like, oh yeah, I can choose love.
Yeah.
And so then in the next moment, I choose to do that. So it's having intentionality to love. And then when we forget, remembering, and then having the intention again and being present with it. And in that moment, in the stillness, there is love. That is what underscores all reality. So that's why, I have to practice being still and being present, because that is where love is. And that's where I want to be, and that's what I want to do, and that's what I want to experience. That is what I want. And so I had the intention, have it. And then another thing, forgiveness. one of the things that love is the reality, but we have things that block it. Like judgment blocks it, anger blocks it, fear blocks it, envy blocks it, resentment blocks it. And holding on to judgments really blocks it, particularly. So practicing forgiveness is an amazing gratitudes and forgiveness are ways to always go back to love. No matter how you feel like I can't love because I'm so upset, I'm so angry. Yeah. Gratitude opens the heart again, expands the heart again. And forgiveness means you let go of the judgments and you forgive people. And then that reconnects you. So I find those two good strategies, be in the moment. And then when you feel like you just can't be in the moment, then practice forgiveness and gratitudes, and that'll take you back into the moment.
Two things. Grounding, people are like, choose love. And sometimes it could be such an ambiguous phrase, but grounding it in the lens of you have the choice to look through love or fear or judgment.
Yes.
And knowing that moment to moment, even if you were in fear and judgment, up the street, you can come home and then go back to that lens of, well, I'm going to choose love. And you're right. If you lean into fear and judgment, you will always find something to be fearful and judgmental about.
I'll go further. You're creating it.
You're experiencing it. You're creating it. So for the people viewing and listening, we can shift our human experience by changing our lens.
Yes. I'm not suggesting it's easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but you'll get, like any skill, if you practice it, you get better at it. And so practice it. You'll get better at it. You'll forget. The times that you forget will be shorter and shorter and shorter in length. And you'll be present more and more frequently in that place that you want to be, which is in the moment, in love, in kindness, in compassion. Because I think that's what fulfills our souls the most. We're not happy when we're full of anger and judgment.
No.
And we're separated from people. And however, our ego always wants to be defensive and justify it. It always wants to make the other person at fault and wrong. That really traps us. It's a very bad life strategy. It's better to forgive and practice gratitude. And when we do that, we will be in the moment and we'll be in the love, what we call the love space. You'll be in the love space.
In the forgiveness and gratitude, there's people who say, yeah, I want to be grateful, but they're just kind of saying it. It's one thing to say it, it's one thing to feel it, but what if people are blocked from feeling it? What if they go, I'm grateful for my home and I'm grateful for my family and I'm grateful for my work, but they don't feel it? Do you suggest anything?
I can. So there's a metaphor I like to use for forgiveness in particular, but it applies to gratitude as well. So imagine here we are we're in LA and you've got the Pacific Ocean, and sometimes you can see, big rocks out in the ocean, and you see these waves crashing against these rocks, right? All day long, every day, day after day, year after year, year after year. What do you think happens over hundreds and thousands of years to those rocks?
They wear down over time.
They wear down over time. So it's the same way. You may not think you can forgive someone, but if you have the intentionality to forgive, you're like the waves wearing down the rock. You have the intentionality to give, and you practice it anyway. And then that wave is going to remove the resistance. Fortunately for us, it doesn't take hundreds or thousands of years, but it does take some practice, and you will wear it down. If you have the intention to forgive and you will practice the exercise, even if you don't feel it initially, it works over time. Same thing with gratitude. If you practice, but one of the things I always say in gratitude is the key to it is don't over ritualize it. Think about things that you don't just say the same things over and over again. Be thinking about the people you love most. Or, my parents have both passed, but I can think about them with so much gratitude now because of all the things they gave me in my life, and I'm so grateful for. I can think about people I love. I can think about animals I love. I can think about experiences in my life that I've been so blessed for. So you take your creative imagination and you focus it on the things that really have brought you happiness and joy in your life. And that practice, again, you get more skillful at it, and the feelings will come, whether you feel it just then or not. The practice itself is valuable because it's, let's say it starts to scrape away those rocks that are blocking the feeling. But you have to be patient. You have to have some discipline. You have to go back and do it and practice it.
Yeah.
And you'll get resistance, but you can't let that discourage you so much that you quit.
Yeah. A lot of us will quit after we do it for 2 weeks because it takes work. It takes that conscious effort. It takes, moment to moment. It's so easy to feel happy in our bodies. For me, I could think of my old dog. I could think of cows. I could think of this pig that we saw recently. Like animals for me, they make me so happy. Oh, I feel gratitude, right? It's alivening into my body. The forgiveness piece is a big one because I think a lot of people are holding resentment not only for people, but for themselves too.
I have a good metaphor for that one.
You got one?
Yeah.
All right.
When you hold on to those resentments, the other person, you're not hurting the other person at all. You're poisoning yourself. It's like you have this poison you'd like to give to this person that you're angry at. You're drinking it. You're drinking it. You're destroying your own inner being. You're making yourself sick. And I mean, if you continue to do that, you'll actually make your body sick.
Yep.
You're in a sense, that resentment is eating away at the fabric of your soul. It's poison. You have to get rid of it. And forgiveness is the way to get rid of it.
One thing that I can suggest to the viewers and listeners that has helped me is I would meditate on the word, I forgive myself. I forgive myself. And the deeper I go, the I and myself disappears and just it's forgive and forgive and then forgive. And then, and that actually came up in a ceremony I did in January with MDMA and mushrooms. And I was like,
that's a good combination.
But it's a great, I said, how can I love my father deeper? How can I love my father deeper? How can I love, and then it's forgiveness. You know how it just comes up and you're like, how did I get here? Wow, this is true. And you feel it in your body. You're like, holy moly, this is true. And it gave me this mantra because I went in with the intention, I want something tangible, not just this experience and then I let it go. And that mantra, it said, keep doing this, just keep doing it and see how you change.
Yeah.
Incredible. It's incredible stuff.
You know, Christian, a good metaphor that I sometimes is helpful for people is think of the world out there as like a mirror. And as we practice forgiveness to others, forgiveness comes back to us. As we practice gratitude in the world, we find more things to be grateful for. As we love others, we find that they love us too. We receive back. This is the hardest thing because it's so frightening to the ego to understand that if you don't like where you find yourself in life or what's happening, it's because that's what you're creating. You're not conscious of it, but your resentments, your fears, angers, they're going out, and then that's what's coming back to you.
Yeah.
And so the good news here is that in the next moment, no matter how the past doesn't exist any longer, in the next moment, we can choose to be different. We can choose love. We can choose gratitude. We can choose forgiveness. And then as we practice that will be what the world begins to reflect back to us. So if you don't like what you're seeing in your life, change the way you're thinking, change the attitudes that you're putting out there. Practice those love, practice forgiveness, practice kindness, generosity, gratitudes, because then that will come back to you.
Yeah.
I found this to be absolutely true in my own life.
And mine too. Let's shift gears. Love.Life. All right. This is your new project. I've looked at all of the website pics, all of the Instagram pics. I've been in contact with, we're going to set up a talk there or a live podcast.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
We've been really so excited about this. What was the genesis of the birth of this? What inside of you said, I'm moving towards this now?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a longer story. So I will do it. I first had this idea way back in 1984, the first time I did MDMA, and it was legal back then.
Was it really?
Yes. Yes.
I didn't know that.
No, they didn't know about it. As soon as they knew about it, they made it illegal. And back in that day, it was called Adam. Adam. Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought I knew
Ecstasy
everything.
came after that, now Molly.
Yeah.
But it was
Adam
in the day. And that really awakened to me the reality of love. But then simultaneously, I also started doing breath work regularly. And I always tell people that have never had a transcendent experience but are scared of psychedelics, just do breath work. You will find that your interiority will open up to you. You will find there's a deeper spiritual reality just through breath work. And what could be simpler and safer? If you get too scared, you can just stop doing it, and then everything returns to normal. And then I started studying Course in Miracles. Those three things had a big impact on me. So we were going to start up a place next to a Whole Foods market in Austin called Life Works. I was going to do that with a few of my friends, and it was going to be we were going to do breath work, meditation, yoga, and that was it was only going to be a few thousand square feet, and we backed out of it at the last minute. We actually signed a lease.
Wow!
And then the woman that was responsible for the breath work is the one that introduced me to MDMA, sort of the spiritual leader. She got cold feet about investing any of her own money. So I decided, we'll do this later. And so we got out of that lease and backed away from it. But that idea never left me. And then now about, quite a while now, 15, 17 years ago, Whole Foods Market started to do something called the Total Health Immersion. Because Whole Foods is self-insured, that means we actually pay for all of our health bills internally. We don't actually we use an administrator to administer things like United Health or work with their networks, but we actually are responsible for all the bills. What we discovered was 10% of our team members spent 90% of our healthcare dollars. We were spending $250 million a year. Only 10% of the team members were spending 90% of it.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you dive deeper. Of course, there are tragedies that happen, a cancer or automobile accident, things like that. But most of the money was going to chronic diseases and chronic diseases like heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes. And these diseases the chronic diseases are what kill people today. It's not infectious diseases for the most part. The world has changed from what it was 150 years ago, where it was infectious diseases, cholera, diphtheria, polio, tetanus. These are all things we have vaccinations or antibiotics for now. So what we realized was that if we began to take our team members who were most sick, it was all voluntary, we never forced anybody to go, and we took them in a retreat setting, a medically supervised retreat setting, and for 1 week, we controlled their food.
Yeah.
We taught them the basics of good health and good eating and good nutrition, got them to exercise. And even in a week, because these people were very sick, they made huge progress in 1 week, Christian. Generally, many of our type 2 diabetics could actually get off of their insulin within a week. That's how fast people can. I learned from that, the human body is incredibly resilient. If we stop poisoning it, it starts to return to health pretty quickly, and we nourish it. So we did that, and we sent over 5,000 people through that. And many people changed themselves forever and never looked back. And I toured the stores and I get hugs and thanks. Thank you so much, Mr. Mackey, for the total health immersion. It changed my life. It changed my family's life. I'm always going to be grateful to you. But then recidivism was also high. So I always use an analogy like, let's say you're an alcoholic and we send you to rehab for 90 days. You come out of rehab, you're sober, you don't crave alcohol anymore. However, if you go hang out with the same friends who like to go to bars, you're probably not going to stay sober that long.
Yeah. We're
so influenced by our peer groups and our families, and we don't realize it, but it's the same thing's true of food. We're very addicted to the standard American diet is killing us. I mean, here's the sad statistical fact that we spend more money than any other country on healthcare, much more, on both a total basis and a per capita basis. We spend about 17 to 18% of our GDP on healthcare. And yet we rank 58th in the world in longevity. Americans are 74% adults are overweight and 43% are obese. This is a sad truth, and it's the food. So what we realized in those total health immersions is that if we could change people's diets, they start to heal. And then Love.Life is a continuation of this. It's like when I decided to leave Whole Foods, it was like I have enough money. I don't have to do anything else. But, you know, if I don't try to help people be healthier, it's a regret. I'd get to the end of my life and always wonder, what if I didn't even try? I just really felt a calling. We talked earlier in this talk about sort of that inner calling for your own higher purpose in life, that your soul speaking to you, like it did for me to do Whole Foods, and it was calling out to me to do Love.Life. And so that's the genesis of it. And I got some ex-Whole Fooders, some my peers that were retired from the company as well, and we co-founded it together. And we would have had our first location in Austin where we live, but we found this incredible location here in Manhattan Beach in El Segundo. It was an old Best Buy, 45,000 square feet, big. We could really, I really had that one-stop shop for food with Whole Foods and now for wellness and healthcare. So want me to describe a little bit what's in Love.Life?
Of course, yeah. What can we find there?
So you come in and first of all, the place is very big. It's big and it's beautiful. And you come in and we have a healthy food cafe. So all whole foods. It's we call it plant forward, but you can get grass-fed beef there and salmon and chicken. And so it's not a vegan cafe. Then we have a sort of a state-of-the-art gym, fitness center, where we've got everything you might get almost everything you might get in an Equinox, a big Equinox. We have a physical therapy room, so we're practicing physical therapy. We've got lots of personal trainers. We've got a yoga studio, a Pilates studio. We've got a spa, so you can get massages, you can get facials, you can get lymphatic wraps put on you. We have a massive recovery biohacking area. So we've got cryotherapy, we've got PIMF machines. We've got hyperbaric oxygen chambers. We've got red light therapy, infrared saunas, big sauna, big steam, cold plunges, a lot of things to help people recover quicker. And then we have a medical center, primary healthcare center. And our vision of Love.Life, just to describe it, is, remember how I said recidivism was high?
Yeah.
We're creating a community of people that belong to Love.Life because they really want to become healthier. They want to be the healthiest version of themselves. We're all on a health journey. We could all be healthier. And it starts with first testing people. You got to get a baseline. Where are you? We got to know how healthy you are. And then our doctors and our care team will then work with you to create a plan to help you become healthier. And then we have a dietitian, and we'll help develop a plan and strategy. Then we're going to want to track you over time with your Oura Ring or your Apple Watch or Garmin or whatever else. We want that data recorded, how you're sleeping. And we may put a continuous glucose monitor on you if we're worried about your blood sugar.
Yeah.
And then, so first we test, and then we create a plan, and then we're going to track you. And then over time, we'll get the results, and then we'll modify the plan accordingly. Because one of the things we're just coming up on our first anniversary, and I was talking to the medical team just a few days ago, and they were excited about how much progress dozens and dozens and dozens of our members had made in the last year. They were so excited because they had gotten healthier.
Yeah.
Just like we had done that in the total health immersions. It's just that people they don't know, they're ignorant. They don't understand. I feel okay. Yeah. And the reality is you'll feel okay until the chronic diseases take decades to develop before you're going to have serious heart disease or before cancer is going to hit you or before weight is not something you gain all at once, sneaks up on you, a few pounds a year after year after year until you look up and it's like, I need to lose like 30 pounds.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, it happens to it can happen to anybody. Anyhow, so that's kind of the vision of Love.Life. It's a community of people that want to be as healthy and happy as possible. Oh, I forgot to mention, we also have 3 indoor pickleball courts.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so we also have a recreational fun aspect to it. And pickleball also is a great social connector for people.
Which is huge.
Yes, exactly. So
incredible. One-stop shop. So the experience is that, does everyone go through the medical team when they sign up?
No, we have different types of memberships. You could just join the fitness and recovery. So you work out, you get discounts at the restaurant, you get discounts at the spa, and you just use it for fitness and recovery. And then we have what we call Optimize, which includes fitness and recovery, but then also has the medical portion to it as well.
Oh, amazing. And one right now, any plans to maybe open one in the future?
Yes, we're hoping, because I do live in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we're looking for the second one to be in Austin.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, LA is a great market. I'm sure we'll have we have people there trying to get us to put locations.
Another one here in LA.
People are asking us to go to New York, go to Miami,
Oh, yeah.
go to Washington, D.C. Excuse me. We'll get to all those places eventually. But I like to joke, this is a long way for me to come to work out.
It's true. Yeah. You got to open one in Austin.
Exactly. But you know, I have a medical membership there.
Yeah.
So I'm working closely with the doctor there.
Amazing.
I've done all the tests. She's helping me, even though I live a very healthy lifestyle. She's giving me invaluable suggestions to help me be even healthier.
Amazing. I just love that there's food there too.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you know, you go to a lot of gyms and they're separate.
Yes.
And most people will go see their doctor, go to their own separate gym, maybe find a healthy restaurant, cook at home, but this is all under one-stop shop.
You know how one of the things that's gotten really big and growing exponentially are social clubs?
Big time.
Like Soho Club.
Yep.
And there are all kinds of different variants of that popping up because Soho's so successful. Yep. Well, part of that is because a lot of people don't go to churches anymore.
Yeah.
So, but we still have that hunger for community, a hunger for purpose as well. So I think Love.Life is like in the long term, it's going to be like a wellness social club.
I would love that too, because longevity is so deeply connected to community. And it's actually one of the most important factors. I wish every doctor would ask, how do you feel? Do you have community? Do you have confidence? Do you feel?
Unfortunately, most doctors they're trapped in the pharmaceutical medical device system. They rule our healthcare system. And Love.Life is, hey, just like Whole Foods was counterculture, Love.Life's counterculture.
Amazing.
It's all about, now we have medical doctors, but they're trained in function medicine, integrative medicine. We do acupuncture, chiropractic. It's like we want to do all the alternative medical plus alternative therapies, 100%. All under one roof.
Amazing. So the people in LA, it's in Redondo.
It's not in Redondo. It's in like Manhattan Beach and El Segundo border.
Yeah, and
Redondo's close.
You go there, you have your experience, go to the beach, get some nature. I mean, like you can't go wrong there.
We also have one of our optimized memberships is just medical. So you could live in a different part of LA and not use our club and just join as a medical member, and we can still help you medically.
I love that they track you too.
Yes.
And I love that you use biometric data too.
And by the way, that all the data that we collect, the member owns that data.
Yeah.
So if they leave, all of their testing, all their reports, all that data that we've accumulated goes with them.
Amazing. Listen, I'm going, and I'm going to get the tour.
Let me know when you go. I'll make sure you get the good tour.
I can't wait. This has been on the top of my list. It's such important medicine. People need this. They need community. Obviously, they need movement. They need to be tracked. They need to be taken care of. They need social. They need fun and recovery and good food.
And they need people that are on the journey with them.
Yeah.
That understand. I mean, that's why AA has been successful with people, really.
Of course, and they stay there.
Yeah, because that's right, because that's where they got sober.
Exactly.
And they have a support people around them. Well, this is where I got well.
Yeah.
And I have a support team around me helping me stay well.
Yeah, make friends, community. If you're lonely, there you go. Like, this is where we make friends, this is where we connect, this is where we feel like we're in a community.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. Okay, so how can people find out more? Is there a website?
Yeah. www.love.life.
Love.life.
No .com, just love.life. If
Amazing.
you Google love.life, it'll pop up.
Yeah, I want all the LA peeps, I want you to go visit it. Just take the tour, really connect to the place. I think they're doing some excellent work. And anything else you want to leave, anything in your heart that wasn't said, anything you want to leave us with?
Life's an adventure. It's an adventure, and don't live it in fear. Live it in love instead.
Amen to that. John Mackey, thank you so much, my man.
Thanks, Christian.
All right.